Alek Manoah just continues to struggle for the Toronto Blue Jays, and something's got to change. They've been giving him the benefit of the doubt for a long time now. They kept running him out there every 5 days, but now it's either time to send him down or just put him on the injured list because he is not himself, and something's got to change. So we'll break that down and much more on this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. We thought we'd get this video out to you guys a little bit before the game ends. I think it's a foregone conclusion that the Jays are going to lose the series opener against the Houston Astros, but this video is a focus on Alek Manoah and maybe a potential replacement for the meantime. Now, we're not suggesting that this player that we're going to be talking about is the long-term option in that role that Manoah is currently occupying. We're not suggesting that he is a part of the future of the Blue Jays, but someone that can just offer some immediate relief and maybe just give Alek a chance to figure things out, whether it be in the minor leagues or just taking a break from baseball in general.
Yeah, he is. He's been horrible this season, and again, today was more of the same. But before we get into the video, quick reminder, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 7,500 subs, and let's just get into it. It's time to send him down, and whether that is send him down to the minors, send him down to the injured list for a phantom IL stint, who knows what the real reason behind Alek Manoah being horrible the whole season is. We have our guesses. Peter, you've made your guess earlier in the season about his workload. I'm starting to come right there with you because something is down. His velocity is down. His command is nowhere to be seen. And we were hoping today was going to be the start that maybe turned his season around, going up against a huge series, obviously against Houston. And he did the polar opposite. He recorded 1 out, giving up 7 hits, 6 earned runs. His season ERA is up to 6.36, and it's at the point now where every time you send him out, no matter if it's against, the Tigers or in this case the Astros, it's an automatic loss for the Blue Jays. He can't buy a win. The replacements in AAA are also just as bad. All of them have an above like a 5 ERA in AAA. And Zach Thompson, Mitch White has been horrible. He's now a bulk guy. We will have a replacement, which we'll talk about in a second. But I mean, I don't know what are your thoughts on quickly why Manoah? Do you think it's a workload thing? I think it has to be, and mentally, of course, as well.
Yeah, well, it's a combination of things, and no one's more pissed off than Alek Manoah, and you could tell he's such a competitor out there, and he's fighting it right now. He just doesn't know what's wrong, and we don't know what's wrong, but my best guess is that the first year, his first full season in the major leagues, 111 innings pitched. That's a pretty decent workload for a guy who didn't pitch much in the major leagues before that, and someone who was in college ball who probably never got over 100 innings in the season. So that's okay. Then the next year, he just keeps getting better and better and better, and he's never faced any adversity in his career. So you send him out there and you make him throw 196 innings, and he went ahead and did that, maybe not because the Jays wanted him to, but he had to. The rotation wasn't good. Jose Barrios was one of the worst starters in all of baseball last season, and Yusei Kikuchi was unplayable at times, so you needed all of those innings out of Manoah. There was not a single start where he went under 5 innings in which he started. So I think that takes a toll, and you could tell by the numbers this year. The velocity is down 1 or 2 miles per hour. Now, it may not seem like a big difference, but it is to those hitters in the batter's box. And the slider, it's breaking 1.5 to 2 inches less. That is a huge difference. He can't put guys away, and that's a sign of a dead arm for me. He just doesn't have that same life that he did before. He's never been a huge velocity guy, but right now he's just got nothing, and it's not the right call to send him out there every 5th day and just let him get shelled, because then you're just going to ruin his development for the rest of his career, and that's the last thing that the Jays want.
Yeah, all of his bulk of his innings in his career have been in the majors, and another thing to note is that he's seen nothing but success at all levels, whether it was college or the majors. This is his first adversity, right, which is experienced at the MLB, where even, some of the worst hitters in the MLB, are amazing hitters, and of course what would be college and the minors. So I don't know. Hopefully he can bounce back, and looking at a potential replacement for the short term, like you said, and who knows if we'll pick up this guy. The Jays have been linked to him a little bit. That person is a recently DFA'd Zach Plesac. This was on June 4th, which was yesterday. The Guardians have DFA'd Zach Plesac, which was, of course, yesterday on Sunday by Robert Murray. And Zach Plesac is a guy who, his career stats aren't great. His expected ERA this year aren't great. But when you look at our options in AAA, Zach Plesac might just be a guy who still has 3 options. We'll get into his stats here in a minute. He could just be someone you take a flyer on, and maybe he'll get back to, what he was in a couple of years ago, even if that is a low 4 ERA.
I don't know if the Jays are going to transform him back to that old Zach Plesac that he was, but right now Manoah just needs some time to himself. And I feel bad for the guy. I really do because he's fighting it, and I this kind of drop off it doesn't make sense to me
Ricky
to go from
Romero-esque.
yes, but this is just unprecedented, Nick. To go from a
Yeah,
2.24
Romero-esque.
ERA to a 6.4 and a whip nearing 2, man, that's just terrible. And he needs something. I think this season is a bit of a write-off for him. He's still got a lot of years of control. He's still very young, and he's got time to figure it out. And I think he will. But you got to let him go ahead and step away from that rotation because right now he's costing you games. And every time he steps out on that mound, on that rubber, your bullpen is getting taxed. And now you got 3 more games in the next 3 days against the Houston Astros. And Jimmy Garcia pitched. Anthony Bass went out and pitched.
Very true.
I'm not watching the game right now, but I think Adam Simber's probably going
He
to head out
is.
there too.
He's
So
in there now. Trevor Richards, I
thin.
believe, pitched as well. Shout out Jay
You're
Jackson as well.
you're very thin right now in the bullpen, and that's because Alek Manoah just can't get it done. So give him time, let him step away from the team, collect his thoughts, and get right.
Yeah, and a lot of people on Twitter are saying Ricky Romero-esque, but I would even argue that Manoah's best season, and he has a way different trajectory than hopefully Ricky Romero did. And let's just get into Zach Plesac a little bit, and just very quickly here. Thomas Hall said, "Depth is depth, I suppose. Zach does have all 3 minor league options." And that was before today's awful start. And Twitter was just going crazy today. Just basically everyone's saying trade for Zach Plesac, even though he got DFA'd, and BK saying future Blue Jays Zach Plesac. But we're looking at his baseball savant numbers this year. They're horrible. He is above a 7 ERA. But again, this is such a limited. He has some qualities. He doesn't walk anyone chase rate. He has such a limited stuff that this doesn't really matter. But I don't know, Peter. It's a tough time. His stats. He's had some great starts in the past. So Zach Plesac's a guy that I wouldn't mind the Jays taking a flyer on, and maybe, just maybe, he develops into the old Zach Plesac. And if that happens, the Jays they're loving their life as a different starter there. And overall, something needs to change. And if it's not going to be someone like internal, like Bowden Francis, maybe because he's not on the 40 man, then maybe someone like Zach Plesac, who has more major league experience, could be a very good option.
Yeah, I mean, even if he does find a semblance of his old self, I still don't think the Jays would rather have some Zach Plesac as opposed to Alek Manoah in the
Yeah.
rotation. But you just got to give him a bit of a break here, and I think this is probably their best option. Zach Thompson, ERA over 5 in AAA, he's not good. Mitch White, they just came out today and said he's no longer a starter for this team. He's going to be a bulk guy,
Disaster trade.
That's a disastrous statement that was just uttered today by Blue Jays front office and John Schneider. And Drew Hutchison, who I wasn't very high on coming into the season, is no longer on the Blue Jays roster. So there go all of your options to come up and replace Alek Manoah. And I think that's a big reason as to why that they've kept him here for so long. I mean, you could have sent Alek Manoah down 2 weeks ago and no one would have batted an eye. But who are you bringing up in that case? Who is coming up that's going to be better than what he's providing for you? There was nothing there. Now, I think Zach Plesac is going to eat some innings. He has been that type of guy in the past. He's had a couple of above-average seasons. He's been below average in the past couple of years. But I'm all for it if the Jays want to go out there and acquire some depth.
Yeah, and some people are saying that, I guess some reports, or I'd go far as say rumors, are saying that the Jays are interested. And it makes total sense at this point, and hopefully the Jays can go out and they got to do something. And, Hyun-Jin Ryu, he's going to get healthy. Maybe this will alter their trade deadline plans a little bit to get a fifth starter. But, Hyun-Jin Ryu right now, I'd throw him out there once he gets healthy and give him a chance because he obviously has a track record. Very, very good. But overall, let us know what your comments and what your thoughts are in the comments because it is a weird time to be, I guess, a Jays fan or an Alek Manoah fan. Just a strange, bit of occurrence. And look ahead. Very quickly, we have Kevin Gausman taking the bump tomorrow, and I'm much more confident in the other 3 starters going in this series. In Kevin Gausman, and Chris Bassett will be back, I believe, for his start. He did have his kid today, I think, or yesterday, so shout out to him and congratulations to him. And any quick thoughts on the rest of this critical series before we wrap up?
I'm just excited to see what this team has in store and see if they can show some resiliency. That's all I want to see going forward.
I completely agree because these next 3 games are going to be very important in the wildcard picture. But we'll be with you for more videos. We just want to get this one out as soon as possible because, Twitter and Blue Jays land is in shambles because Alek Manoah just somehow turned into, I think, statistically the worst pitcher in baseball following his Cy Young performance. But that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for the support. We'll see you tomorrow.